Hello, TBR fans. Welcome to another episode of Talking About Rock. I'm your host, Rob Edwards in New York. My co-host, Jerry Schmidt, is in Nashville. Jerry, how's it going?
It's going very well. How you doing there, Rob?
Excellent, excellent. Hey, I just wanted to say what a great show we had with Naked Gypsy Queens the other day. Those guys are smoking out there.
Yeah, you can't beat those guys. What a great bunch of guys. Very humble and very polite. Just 21-year-old kids out there touring with the likes of Night Ranger and Buck Cherry. They're going to grow up pretty fast out there, Robert.
Excellent, excellent. I hope we get a chance to talk to them again. But today we have with us a guitarist, artist, and super fan, so driven and inspired by his rock icons. He started his own music magazine at 9 years old. Welcome to the show, John Jeffery from Kiss This. John, how you doing?
Hello. Yes, I want to clarify. I saw Kiss for the first time when that was on the Dynasty tour. So that was 79. So I seen them when I was 7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
Yes. And I started the Kiss Underground fan magazine in 1987. So that was when I was around 15 years old. So that's when I started the Kiss Underground. So just to
were you writing the
So
article?
Robert said that the magazine helped you meet the members of Kiss. Is that true?
Yeah, that was basically the antithesis of doing the fan magazine. Because if you guys remember vinyl, right? If you go back and you look at, like the old Kiss records and you pull out the vinyl, you pull out the cover and it would have like all like the credits and the lyrics and everything at the bottom. It'd always say, Kiss is managed by so-and-so. And for the later part of the 80s, they were managed by a company called Glickman and Marks, and they had the address. And before Google and everything, for the internet, in order to get a phone number, you'd have to call information on the phone. And you could get a phone number either by giving somebody's, their last name, the city and state they live in, what street they, or you can do it the other way. You can provide the address and they can pull up the phone number going by the address. So I gave information in New York City, the address that was listed for Glickman Marks, which was the Kiss office. They gave me the phone number and I called them up. And the secretaries, they must have been giggling because here's this, I sounded a lot higher pitched, younger kid back then, telling them, hey, I'm a Kiss fan. I want to talk to Kiss. And they're like, well, Kiss only talks to people who put out magazines. So like immediately I come back with, well, if I had my own magazine, Kiss would talk to me. And they're like, yes. So a little light bulb went off in my head. So I decided to somehow, some way start my own all Kiss magazine. I started the Kiss Underground fan magazine back in 1987. And that's, directly led to me meeting the band and develop, relationships and friendships with various members of the band. And that was kind of like the beginning of my fandom.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and Jerry and I are big Kiss fans too. Obviously, we're always reading the liner notes on albums, memorizing song titles, and what song is on what album. We're big fans of all that back in the day.
Right.
But we didn't have that light bulb go off in our heads and say, hey, what if we were on our own magazine, maybe we could actually meet these guys. We should have maybe thought of that. But so now you've come down the pike here, and now you got your own Kiss tribute band, Kiss This.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit of how that came about.
Well, it just seemed like a natural progression, being a fan. And when I started really having, a desire to play music, I went to school here in Buffalo called Buffalo Academy for Visual and Performing Arts. And I actually entered at 5th grade being an art major because I love to draw. I did pencil drawings and my parents thought, I was really good at it. And I think I was pretty good at it. But the thing is once I started going to school and I was forced to draw, I hated doing it. It was no longer like a thing that I wanted to do. It was something that I had to do every day. I had to draw like stuff that I didn't want to draw an apple. I didn't want to draw a vase. I didn't want to, I didn't want to draw a desk, it's like, it was just like, I wanted to draw Kiss. I wanted to draw cool stuff that, that I like drawing,
Yeah. What is that they say? If you have a job that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life or something like that.
Yeah. So what wound up happening was that, being that the performing arts, was school for all arts, a lot of my friends, they had different majors, with drama, dance. And of course I gravitated towards, the music majors and the people in the guitar ensemble. So even though art was my major, they allowed you to pick up minor courses that you could take. So I minored in music and I joined the guitar ensemble and started playing classical guitar. And then, of course, like when we were done playing all the, basically we'd be playing a lot of classical pieces, playing with our fingers, playing on nylon acoustic guitars, we'd all start playing, all the rock songs that we knew, or somebody would know one and show somebody else how to play it. And so we all kind of like were learning and teaching each other how to play. And of course, me being, a super Kiss fan, that I gravitated towards learning, Kiss songs and all the other material that came out, at the time when I started playing. But ironically, when I started my first band in 1990, I didn't play covers at all. I wrote all of my own original music and did that for a good, I'd say, almost a decade. And what wound up happening was that I really, near the end of the 90s, I started realizing, the ideal and the reality and the realism of becoming a rock star and the dream of making it big and all that was really not something that I saw as a reality, at least for me. Like, I don't want to deter anybody from, if that's your goal, then go for your goal and keep going. But for me, I didn't think that was something that was going to happen. Although in the original bands that I played in, we had opportunities. The one band I was in was actually signed to a demo deal by the same record label that they did the distribution for all of the Kiss vinyl that came out in the early 90s, called H&H Records. So, I mean, I had opportunities, but it just got to the point where, if I'm going to put as much time as I do into music, it's got to have a payoff. So I figured, the bands that make the most money are cover bands, and the highest paid cover bands are tribute bands. So it just made sense to me. Well, my best deal would be to start my own Kiss tribute band, and that's what I did.
Yeah, it's definitely, Jerry and I talk about this. It's definitely, we definitely love to hear new music and new bands come out, but it's definitely the environment is, since everything has gone to streaming, there's not a product that bands are selling, and everything's streaming now. Concert tickets have exploded, right? Prices are crazy. So if you want to see a big name act, you're going to be paying some good money. So that's why I think the tribute band thing is huge. If you can't see, these guys, you go and see the tributes, and it's just all over the place. It's going on.
Yeah, you're talking $15 to $25 covers for the tribute bands versus over $100 for the upper bowl for the real thing. So,
well, I think there was a big thing too. Like, I don't know if it was timing wise, if it went hand in hand with the whole Napster and downloading thing, and just everybody wanting to basically not pay for music. But it seemed like, coincidentally, or maybe not, around the same time, like a huge push for nostalgia. Like, people would rather go out and they'd rather buy like the fourth remaster of their favorite album than going out and buying a new record by a new artist of new music. It just seems like there's been this really huge thing over the last 10-20 years of nostalgia, and I think that's one of the reasons why as well. Like you said, the price point, it's a lot cheaper to go see a good tribute band than it is to see the actual band these days. But, again, I think a lot of that, just the desire to go see, a cover band or tribute band, it's really driven by the whole desire from nostalgia. That's in my opinion.
Yeah. The rise back of vinyl has been great. We've seen that, lots of different artists re-releasing vinyl, a lot of their different albums and stuff like that. And it is in one way it's bad for the newer bands. They're kind of having a hard time breaking through, definitely with new music, you know what I mean? But it's cool to see that vinyl get re-released for us folks that like to recollect those, original albums,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a win-win for music fans, except for, like you said, the bands that are trying to break through, with the fact that people aren't really buying physical product, or let's face it, how many people actually pay legally for downloads, right? I mean, it's
Nobody.
I'm sorry?
Hardly anybody. Nobody.
Right. So, I mean, the fact is that, so even if you're not selling, physical product and you're just selling a download, once somebody gets your download, they're going to share it. Somebody else is get it, it's going to go up on a P2P site and somebody will download it. So it's really hard for bands to try to figure out ways, new bands, to figure out ways to make money with their music without the old-fashioned way of actually selling it. Bands are pushing more of their merch or doing meet and greets, or some way to bring their audience in, aside from just actually selling their music, selling their songs.
Yeah, and I think I've even seen announcements from KISS, from Paul, saying they're not going to be coming out with new music. They're not going to be selling anything new. They don't think there's any really market for that anymore. But I mean, some bands are still doing that. Some bands are still making a product, and you've come out with an awesome product as well. Tell us a little bit about your Buffalo Rock CD. I'm really liking it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Buffalo Rock City was really something that came out of a very common conversation that most KISS fans have, and that why is it when you see KISS, they essentially play the same set list all the time. And, if you break it down for how many studio albums they have, averaging, say, 10 songs per record, they have the upwards between 200 and 300 songs in their catalog. But when you go see them live, you're basically seeing the same 15 to 20 songs every time you go see them. And there's so many songs that you never hear them play, or very often you don't hear even ourselves. There's a lot of songs that, being in a tribute band, we know, just like with KISS, that you're playing to a diverse crowd. You have a bunch of diehards, but more so, you have casual music fans that, they probably know, Detroit Rock City, Rock and Roll Night, but they're like the plus ones. They're the girlfriends or boyfriends that have went there with the diehards, or, they're the people that saw the band that played there the week before, and they'll see you and they'll see the band that's going to play the week after, so I understand the whole philosophy of kind of what you have to do live in order to keep the crowd entertained. But yet at the same time, there's a lot of great songs that get overlooked. So we just started talking about, how many songs that, we love that we never hear live. And we thought it would be cool to coordinate doing an album with a bunch of our musical peers here in Western New York, and doing a bunch of those songs that, that we all love. And so we just, basically we're like, well, let's get together like a bunch of KISS fans that are friends of ours that play in different bands. And let's go. And at first it was just going to be a big jam. We're just going to get together and, get everybody who's a KISS fan and have everybody pick their favorite songs and just have like a big party and jam. But then we're like, if we do something that extreme, we got to record it. And it's like, well, if you're going to record it, you got to do it well. So, then it was like, all right, well, where are we going to, what studio are we going to book? So we went in with the idea of recording an album full of KISS songs that we loved. But ironically, we never went in with the mindset of actually doing a KISS tribute album. But if you look at it, doing an album of nothing but KISS songs, it by definition is a tribute album. So, but it wasn't our like idea, like, because we were totally aware that there's been several, you know, going back to 1990, there's been over 50 KISS tribute albums that have been released. So it wasn't like our first idea of let's do another tribute album. We just wanted to have fun and record a bunch of songs that we really liked. But then when, you know, it came down to actually finalizing, you know, the track selection, a lot of the songs that we were picking were really songs that had more, I guess you'd say, more meaning to them than, you know, some of the fluff, you know, some of the cock rock songs, you know, like those were the songs that, you know, and again, you know, you see us or you see KISS play live, you know, you'll hear all the, you know, Dr. Love and Do You Love Me and so, you know, great songs, but yet there's other songs that actually deal with, you know, some more, you know, interpersonal things like I've Had Enough, which starts out Buffalo Rock City. There's songs like Hard Times and Black Diamond, you know, songs that deal with, you know, street life, you know, going through hard times. And it all seemed to kind of piece together this kind of running almost concept with the songs that we picked for Buffalo Rock City. And so when we went to release the album, we decided that we wanted to, you know, we wanted to do something for our community. So we decided to pick a charity to donate the proceeds of Buffalo Rock City 2. And we decided to donate the proceeds to the homeless, specifically the homeless youth here in Western New York. And we hooked up with an organization called the Compass House. And all they do is they help the homeless youth in this area and runaways. And so we've donated all the, you know, profit from the album to the Compass House. And that was, you know, what we've been doing thus far. And now, actually, August 15th is the official release date for Buffalo Rock City on vinyl. So, you know,
That's awesome.
back to releasing, you know, artists releasing, you know, something they have already put out on vinyl. So, you know, here we are. There was actually a really big demand for the vinyl. And right now, until the release date, it's been in pre-order. And with the pre-order, it's almost already sold out. So
That's
great.
excellent. That's excellent.
God bless you for giving the proceeds to the Compass House there in
Thank you.
Buffalo, which benefits the homeless youth of the city. That is a nice charitable cause, and I think people need to step up more and do more charitable things for the underprivileged in the major cities around the country. So God bless you guys for doing that.
Thank you. And you know, and I always underline the fact that, you know, I'm somebody, I do not come from any stature of wealth by any means whatsoever, but music has given me a lot. KISS has given me a lot. And if I can do anything to, you know, to pay it forward or give back, however you look at it, you know, to other people, to my community, you know, it's something that I wanted to do. So, you know, it feels good. It really feels good to be able to do something, and you know that you're making a difference. We already have 2 different occasions. We had given a check to the Compass House for $2,000 the first time and $1,000 the second time that we did. And we're building up, you know, as we sell, we're you know, putting together another donation. And the people at the Compass House said that with our donations, we've actually assisted in the upwards of 700 homeless kids here in the area. So when they told me that, it just really, it meant a lot to me. It was a good feeling.
That's outstanding.
Incredible.
That's
Great
outstanding.
job.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the tracks on here. For me, I went through them a little bit, and I really like the new take we got on Hard Luck Woman. We got Robby Takac from Buffalo's. There it is. There's the vinyl right there that everybody's waiting for. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the Hard Luck Woman song with Robby Takac from Buffalo's Goo Goo Dolls singing. it's a little bit of a different feel with him, his vocals on there.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, the thing that was great was that initially the album was started out with the idea of just having, local Western New York guys be on the record. And, I'm blessed to be able to say that I have friends that play in national bands. I'm friends with Dean Castronovo, who just recently rejoined Journey. I'm friends with all the guys in Ace Frehley's band. Tommy Henriksen from Alice Cooper, Bumblefoot. They're all really great guys. And, it was actually a daunting task to reach out to, some of these national musicians and say, hey, I'm doing a record. Would you be willing to donate your time, i.e. play for free, which this is what, what these guys do is they get paid to play on albums and, perform. So, I asked these guys, if they'd be willing to, participate, and, everybody who's on the record all said yes without hesitation. And of course, being a Buffalo native, if you look back as far as, who are the big names from Buffalo, there's really not a big list. You have basically Rick James, he's not with us anymore. You have Billy Sheehan, and you have the Goo Goo Dolls. Those are like the big, three. So, it was definitely something that we wanted to make sure that we had, a recognized, national celebrity who had their beginnings here in Buffalo. And we reached out to Robby, and again, like everybody else, didn't hesitate to say yes. And, like with everybody, when we gave them the tracks, we didn't have any, real guidelines as far as like, well, you need to do the song this way, or, do it that way. Obviously we sent them the arrangement that we created, but as far as like how they wanted to sing it or how they wanted to, play their instrument on it, we left it up to them how they wanted to do it. So what you hear is every artist's own interpretation. And, anybody who follows the Goo Goo Dolls and knows Robby, he's always has a, handful of songs on the Goo Goo Dolls albums. And in live situation, he sings live as well. And, he has a very, I would say, character type voice, in the sense of like a, I guess like Alice Cooper or Dee Snider. It's kind of like a signature, voice. And that, Robby definitely has that. And I think, he used that, when he did Hard Luck Woman. And because everybody asked me when he sent me the tracks before the album came out, like, what does it sound like? I'm like, well, it sounds like Robby. That's really the only way you could describe it,
Right. He put his own
So who
spin on
picked
it.
the songs? Was it you, John, or was it the artists that performed the songs that picked them?
Well, here was the thing is, before we finalized the set list, we had a larger number of songs that we were considering for the record. But when I reached out to the national guys and told them what their options were, I let them pick what they wanted to play on. And basically what wound up making the record, was a combination between the songs that, us local guys picked it, and also what the national guys, what they chose. So, that's basically how the track listing came together for the record.
Well, I'd be remiss not to shout out to my Nashville guys, Philip Shouse, Jeremy Asbrock, and Ryan Spencer Cook from the Ace Frehley band. I just saw two of those guys, no, all of them performed at the Mercy Lounge on Friday night. And Philip was right there jamming right in my face, right in front of the stage. So got to say hello to those guys and give them a big shout out.
Yeah,
They're all from Nashville.
They're all great guys. And again, I'm proud to call them friends. And they were so helpful. They went out of their way to record their tracks. They got them to me super fast. And when I released the album, I was doing everything that I could. in order to, just sell as many copies as I could. And, I tried to do some interesting things. I tried to, do some different, contests and giveaways, and those guys helped me. They signed a bunch of CDs, and which obviously I was able to sell them for a little bit more than regular unsigned copies. Obviously for fans of Ace Frehley band, to be able to get a special autographed copy from those guys. They signed a bunch of copies, and they've been nothing but great since the beginning of the project. So
yeah, they're terrific guys, very down to earth, very humble, and they always take the time to talk to me. So I do appreciate them, and everybody just loves them here in this Nashville community. We're lucky to have them.
Yeah, great guys.
Yeah, and I think the production value on it is really great too, John. You can just hear the crisp, clean sound in each track. Who did you have at the helm doing that in the studios for you? That really came out nice.
Thank you. Well, I mean, that was our whole point in doing the record, was that, again, when it was just a matter of if it was just going to be a jam, we wanted to record it and we wanted to do it well. And, like I said, being aware of the fact that there were so many other KISS tribute albums. The problem with every other KISS tribute album up to this one, in my opinion, is that they're all compilation records, in that you would have an album that would have 10 to 12, 15 different bands recording songs in different studios that would be mixed down and sometimes mastered and then just compiled on one record. So when you go from track to track, you would hear these huge sonic differences going from song to song, which, me being a musician and loving music, listening to music, it's really fatiguing to the ear to hear those sonic differences, and some sound like they were recorded in a basement or a professional recording studio. So
Yeah,
there's
you definitely need the continuity in the project, definitely.
Yes. So what we did is, when we recorded Buffalo Rock City, is we recorded all of the drum tracks on the same day in the same studio on the same drum set. So we knew that we would build a foundation for the record of having one sonic sound that would tie each song to the next. So no matter what we put on top of that, the foundation would be consistent, and that would tie every track to the next. So that was the first thing that we did. And then the second thing that we did is we hooked up with Robby Takac, one of his top engineers at GCR Studio. His name is Brad Lockert. And Brad, the first thing that we heard Brad do is he actually was the one who did the initial mix down on Hard Luck Woman. And that was literally the first track that, we had sent out and we got back. And we were just blown away with his mixing and where his head was at sonically. We really loved where he was going and everything that he did with the song. So we hooked up with Brad, and again, Brad, he donated his time, the studio time, to be able to mix all of the songs, and he believed in the project too. And then at the very end, we were lucky enough to get Jay Messina, who, he has major KISS ties, as he actually is uncredited for mixing and engineering Destroyer. So, and later on, he actually engineered and mixed Dynasty, and he engineered and he co-mixed Unmasked, Dynasty, while some people can argue whether, they like the songs or not. For me, I'd have to say, of 70s recordings, Dynasty and probably Dress to Kill have the highest clarity of any of the KISS records. So it was really exciting to be able to, again, reach out to somebody like Jay Messina and say, hey, I'm doing this project for charity, and, I love what you did with KISS. This is something you'd be willing to, do. And again, without hesitation, he said yes, because he saw my sincerity, you know, or rather he heard my sincerity on the phone, you know, and he knew, you know, that he could add something to it, and he did. And, you know, between Brad and Jay, and like I said, the way that we did the recording for the record, really, you know, I think it really benefited the end product.
Yes, definitely. You can hear it. It's an amazing product. You know, you got amazing folks playing on it. You got amazing guys behind the scenes, you know, working the controls. It definitely came out great. We wish you continued success with that. Definitely.
Thank you.
But let's get back a little bit now into your band here. So you're in that KISS tribute band.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you got to go through here. So are you making your costumes, making your sets? You know, give us a little bit behind the scenes to make a KISS tribute band. What do you got to go through?
Oh, you have to go through tons of members until you find the right guys.
Right.
That
Well,
is
I think that's every band, but yeah, I hear you.
Well, when I first started out the Kiss This, you know, we had some guys that they didn't want to wear the makeup and costumes. They just wanted to play the music. And, you know, it's like, guys, you know, look what happened with the real Kiss. You know, they tried going that route until themselves in '95 got to the point where they couldn't get booked in the United States anymore without makeup. So they had to put the makeup back on. That's, you know, that's the selling point. That's what the majority of people want to see, is they want to see the spectacle. They want to see, you know, again, going back to nostalgia. They want that nostalgia. They want to see that. They want to relive the past, relive their youth, you know. So we had to go through that. Some people didn't want to wear the makeup. So, you know, eventually they were out of the picture. Then I had a drummer for a number of years. He was a great drummer, but he was really bent on only wanting to play once a year. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was really anticlimactic to, you know, say we'd start up in August putting together a set list and, you know, putting together a stage and figuring out, you know, costumes, what era and so forth. And then, you know, we rehearse the songs. Here comes Halloween. We do the show, and then one and done, and then it's over, and then nothing. Yeah. And actually I wound up doing that for a number of years because, you know, it's just so hard to find people that you know, can competently do the position. You know, it just got to the point where, like, you know what, I got to do this more than once a year. So, you know, unfortunately, as much as I love playing with the original drummer that we had, you know, it's time to move on. And then finally in 2015, I found this amazing young kid, Taylor Stursa, who's from Mayville, New York, and he was actually playing in another KISS tribute at the time. So, you know, because, you know, anytime you hear of another band that's doing the same thing that you're doing in this, you know, essentially the same area, you know, you want to check out your competition. So, I checked them out, and, you know, honestly, I wasn't really impressed with the band, but I really keyed in on him and what he was doing. And I'm like, right there, that guy, that's the guy who's going to be my next Gene Simmons, right there.
We want you.
Yeah. And, you know, and he initially came in to fill in for the Gene that we had at the time. And, you know, once he came down, it was immediate. I mean, he's right now, Taylor's 28 years old. You know, we're all, you know, in our later 40s, you know, early 50s, some of the guys, you know, so he's the baby of the band. But I mean, when he came down, just the way he stood, the way he held the pick, and the way he tapped his foot when he played is exactly like Gene Simmons. I mean, to the T. And that's, you know, that's not even saying, you know, wearing the costume and the makeup and the mannerisms and doing the blood and the fire and all that. I mean, just his core approach to playing is just dead on Gene mannerisms. And that's literally what sold me right away. And, you know, since 2015, it's been the same lineup, and, you know, it's just getting better and better every year.
Yeah.
So are all you guys from Western New York, from the Buffalo area?
Yeah. Yep, and Taylor, he hails from Mayville, New York, which is out actually near Jamestown, going out towards Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but you guys are great. When I met you guys after the show, was it last week or so? And I met Taylor. I couldn't tell at first he was such a younger guy, but because he definitely had that stage presence and the mannerisms of Gene Down. Yeah, you definitely got that.
So that's funny that you say that, because we all say Taylor's an old soul. That's what we say. It's like he like, you see him obviously without the makeup, and you're like, oh yeah, he's a lot younger than these guys. But just the way he conducts himself, his professionalism, his performing. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't come across like, most kids, his age, you think of, the kids, in the bedroom playing video games, and he's out on stage being a rock star, so it's great.
Yeah, when I've seen other bands and they get a younger guy in the band, it just gives the rest of the guys kind of new energy and kind of almost like a new hope, when they have somebody younger in the band that appreciates that music. I wanted to ask you too, are you making your own outfits? Do you have somewhere where you're able to get that stuff, or how does that work? I've always wondered if you had to make the stuff. I know they do sell some of the stuff, but
yeah, well, when we first started out, there wasn't anybody making anything, so we actually found it was ironic that when we first started out doing the makeup and costumes, we literally didn't know anybody who made costumes. So what we started out doing was the Dress to Kill motif with the suits like they were on the front of the album. It was just out of necessity, because we're like, well, who do we find to make Kiss costumes, right?
I know a lot of the guys in bands usually they kind of talk their girlfriends into trying to help them or make something, usually, from what I've seen.
Yeah, and ironically, when we did one of our first shows in the Dress to Kill suits, there was another group of guys dressed up as Kiss, and it was kind of embarrassing, because they came in and they had these amazing Destroyer costumes, and here we are, the band performing that night, and we're wearing suits, and here's these other four guys coming in looking great with these Destroyer costumes. So we talked to them before we went on, and the guy, it was ironic because they weren't a Kiss tribute band. They were just some people that were dressed up in costumes, and the guy who was the Peter Criss, he actually is the one who made all of their costumes, and we hooked up with him, and he was the one that made our first set of costumes. His name was Tony Trucio. He's still a friend of mine to this day. Yeah, and Tony made our first costumes. And then, once you play in the costumes, you really start to learn how durable or not durable they are, right? And then eventually what wound up happening was that Kiss started selling, their own professional line of costumes. At first, it was more of a, I'm trying to think of what they were called. I think
Kiss collection. I'm sure the Kiss collection of collectibles, because we know Kiss has got everything under the sun. They're merchandising, right?
Yeah, but they really do.
The first line of costumes they put out were more like a cheaper variety, like Halloween-y type costumes. They look good, but they weren't like of professional grade.
Right.
And now Kiss has licensed to a great guy named David Pay. And David Pay runs a company in Canada called Kiss Replicas. And Kiss Replicas, they make great costumes. And currently, Taylor and I, we have our costumes. Taylor has the Dynasty / Unmasked costume, and I have the Ace Frehley Love Gun costume that we had made by David. But the only thing is that due to production and being able to really go forward and make these elaborate costumes, it takes a lot of time. And he makes these outfits right from he'll get the actual pieces from Kiss, and he'll use those as, what he's basing his replicas on are the actual original designs.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
it takes time. And the unfortunate thing is, if I would give him one criticism, sorry, David, is that he has yet to make one line of costumes for one era of the band.
Oh, wow, I got you.
Yeah. So like for Love Gun, he's got the full Gene Simmons, the full Ace Frehley, but he's only has the Paul Stanley Love Gun boots and the Peter Criss Love Gun boots. And then for, the Dynasty, he only has the Gene Simmons costume and none of the other members. And then he made a Gene Simmons monster costume, and he has the Eric Singer monster vest, but he hasn't made full, costumes for all of the other members.
Mhm.
So that would be, like I said, my only complaint. His workmanship, his craftsmanship, is the quality of what he creates is just top notch. But, so due to the fact that he doesn't have full costumes for every member, we've also gone to another costume designer. Her name is Megan Ketchinson, and she makes amazing costumes. And she made the Eric Carr Elder costume that our drummer, he portrays Eric Carr as opposed to Peter Criss. And our Paul Stanley, he has a End of the Road monster costume. So, and she made that, and it looks great. And she did, great work. And, having Eric Carr as our drummer as opposed to Peter Criss, and having the different costumes from different eras, we all picked our favorite era that we liked that each member wore. It's different than, a lot of bands will all wear the same era costume. And, we doing what we do, we realize that there's tons of other, KISS tribute bands. So you have to find little things you can do to kind of make yourself different and set yourself apart.
Yeah, well, we definitely really enjoyed your show, your presentation, the outfits, the obviously the smoke and the fire, that is KISS. We really enjoyed that. But one last thing I wanted to ask you a little bit about, I see some of your collection back there. So you've probably been a KISS collector for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you have a prized piece in your collection? Are you looking for a prized piece that you're trying to find still?
Robert's sniffing around for a pinball machine.
Yeah, those are awesome. Actually, probably my first thing that I really wanted to have was something that I had as a kid, was the set of the 4 Migos in really good condition. And I never got a set in the boxes because, to get a set in like really good condition boxes, I don't even know what they go for now, but at the time that I was looking, they're like $1,000, and I wasn't going to spend that, on a set of dolls.
Yeah, they've come out with the remakes of those, but it's not the same. I think for me, the coolest thing I had was those when they came out with the comic book, and they came to Buffalo, and they put the blood in the ink, and they made their comic books. Back in the day, KISS was like superheroes. When they came out with that, to me, that was one of my coolest things. I don't have it any longer, but I did get to meet them way back in the day. But Jerry, do you have any cool KISS collector stuff?
Everything's in storage right now, but I'm wearing my my KISS socks tonight.
There you go. All right. Nice. All right.
Destroyer style.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, and for me as well, my major thing aside from merchandise is I always, being into the music, I have a huge collection of audio and video. I've collected, all, tons of, bootlegs, everything that's out there, that's like my big thing. And, as far as Holy Grail on that goes, the only thing that's really not out there and a lot of people really would like to see is the footage of Eric Carr's first show that he did with KISS at the Palladium in 1980. That's like, a lot of people, that's like Holy Grail material. So
that would be amazing. Yeah, I watched a documentary about him. He was such an awesome guy. But it's been so great speaking to you. We really appreciate you taking the time. So just
Yeah.
to circle back, if folks want to come and see you, do you have any dates coming up on the road? Any shows?
Yes, we actually have a really big show, and you guys are gonna get the scoop before anybody else, because we're announcing midnight tonight that we have a very special once in a lifetime event that's going to be happening. Is that at Music is Art, September 11th, we are doing, again, this is probably the only time it's ever going to happen, we're doing a Buffalo Rock City set. And Music is Art.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's September 11th at 3:30 in the afternoon. And a bunch of the, people on the record. And the big, awesome thing that I'm so excited about is Robby Takac is going to come out and he's going to do Hard Luck Woman with us at the show. So this is something, like I said, a lot of people have been asking if we're ever going to do a live presentation of the record. And that's, we finally, the stars have aligned and we finally able to, pick a great venue to do it. Music is Art is a great event that Robby does every year. And so we're proud to be part of the event, and we're glad that we could make that happen for all people who are fans of the record, and we're going to be able to play a bunch of the songs live.
That's
Are
awesome.
Philip, Jeremy, and Ryan from Nashville, the Ace Frehley Band, going to come up and help you with that?
I wish we could make that happen, but unfortunately, I think they're already at that point. They're going to be on tour. I think the tour starts very early September, the Alice Cooper Ace Frehley tour.
That's right. Yeah, we do have a date here in Nashville.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, we would have loved to make that happen, but like I said, that's their bread and butter, and I know those guys have been dying to get on the road and to play again for everybody, and I can't wait to go see them myself. So and again, I'm really good friends with Tommy Henriksen from Alice Cooper Band, and so to see like some really good friends playing together, like on the same bill, it's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. I've seen Alice Cooper before. I haven't seen the Ace Frehley Band, but Jerry's told me some really good things. Yeah.
You guys have a Buffalo date yet for that tour?
No, we're gonna go see them in Utica, New York. So I think it's September, I want to say September 27th. Sorry if I get the date wrong, but just off the top of my head, that's when I think it is.
No problem. No problem. That's awesome. That's awesome. So just again, if folks want to get a copy of your Buffalo Rock City, where's the best place for them to go do that?
Easiest thing is just go to buffalorockcity.com. That has all the information about the record, the backstory of how the album was created, everybody who's on the record, and then, to order it, you just, click to go to purchase, and it redirects you to their merchant site. And that will give you the option to purchase, the download. You can buy a digital download, or for me, I'm always a big, physical product guy. So for me, I think the best option is to get either the CD or the vinyl, because when you buy the CD or vinyl, you get a free digital download. So, it's a win-win, what I'm saying? So I think, I think that's the best bet. And like I said, just go to buffalorockcity.com. It'll take you to the merchant site, and then, pick your poison. And
excellent. You can have that available on vinyl or CD, right?
yes. Yeah. Although, like I said, the vinyl's been on pre-order up until the 15th. And I checked the site today, and there's only like 26 copies left available of the vinyl. So
okay.
It's going fast.
I might have to circle back with you and get a copy of the vinyl, or we might have to get Jerry a copy of the CD out there to him.
Yeah, with anything you guys need, just let me know. I appreciate the support, man. I really do.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So if you sell out of that vinyl, will you guys be pressing any more?
That's a good question. There is the possibility of there being a sequel to Buffalo Rock City. A very good chance. I don't want to say anything official yet.
I wanted to ask you about that too.
So hint, hint, hint. There's a very good chance there being a sequel to Buffalo Rock City. And if there is, then we're also looking at the possibility of re-releasing Buffalo Rock City 1, and if there is one, a Buffalo Rock City 2. And we're thinking of a special way that we can present that. Maybe add some bonus tracks, something to make it, so if you already bought the first Buffalo Rock City, and if you buy the, like I said, if, cough, cough, if there is Buffalo Rock City 2, if you already buy them separately and we repackage them, we're trying to think of a way that we could do that where, you get something extra with that, just how KISS would do, like make it special for the fans. So we're thinking of that. So as far as, if the first run of the vinyl sells out, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Like I said, right now we're looking at the possibility of making a sequel, and then, only time will tell. So.
Right. Well, we hope
Send me
you'll,
one of the vinyls. I want one.
Yes.
yeah, we hope you'll keep us in the loop and give us the scoop on that. If you do decide to do number 2 there, that would be great, and let us know, and maybe come back and visit us again.
I'd love to. Anytime you guys want me on, and any KISS stuff, I'm there, man. So
Excellent. So we so appreciate you taking the time, like I said, to speak with us, John. That's great. So please go check out the CD for Buffalo Rock City from KISS This with all the various artists. And as always, if you want to hear more from Talking About Rock, please email us at talkingaboutrock@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, check out our Twitter feed, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well for this and other videos. Up and coming.
God, it was so great talking to you and meeting you.
thank you. Likewise, guys. I could tell just from talking to you, you guys are great folks, man. It's awesome.
We appreciate
love
it, man.
it.
We appreciate it. Have a great night, man.
Yeah, you too, guys. Rock on.
Rock on.